This is my 95 12-valve Cummins, also known as the junker drag truck. We took it to SEMA for the Burnout contest, and we failed miserably.
And there's multiple holes. Look back there, it blew apart back there.
All right, guys, since Myers screwed me and sabotaged my turbo setup and made it blow up at SEMA, I feel cheated. We didn't get to see what kind of power it makes. I didn't even get to do a proper burnout. So we've got it all patched up, back together. Meyer redid his work off the clock. I'm not paying this guy to fix his mistakes, all right? So he slaved day and night for the past 12 hours and got this truck all patched up. It's ready to go. Seriously, it took less than a day to fix. It was like very minor. Anyway, the whole point in upgrading the turbos was to add more power. And so I want to know, what does this make? So we're going to put it on the dyno. We're going to test and tune the wastegate a little bit. Going to see what kind of power this makes. And we definitely have to do at least one burnout. I mean, at least one good one.
You got to. Little recap before SEMA, I went ahead and I swapped the Aggressor 80 out of this truck and we put an Aggressor 98 back in. We've always been stuck at that 960, 980 horsepower mark with the truck. We want to shoot for over 1,000 here, so the Aggressor 98 should be very capable of that job. And before SEMA, it had a 6267 HE351 base charger. Will blew that charger up, and so we ended up upgrading to a 62-9. It's the same turbine wheel, same compressor wheel, but now it's in a very easy to drop into a second gen package. And what's awesome about it, it works great in compounds because we can flip the manifold, clock everything. The wastegate is mounted to the turbine housing itself. And now we've got a V-band cover for the compressor cover, so Will blew the snap ring off the HE351 base charger. That won't be a problem here. And we've got a V-band outlet, so that makes the compound piping so much easier. So we got a nice tucked in here, really nice. It worked out really well. On top of all that, we also swapped out to a Steed with a gate flange. So now we have a external gate that is screaming to the atmosphere, so we can really play with the internal gate and an external gate to really get this setup dialed in, because we have a ultimately very small manifold charger with a very large atmosphere charger. So getting those gates set up right, I think it'll be fun to tune, and we get to see what it does.
All right, guys, while this is on the dyno, we're also gonna play with water injection. What's cool is our water injection is interstage between the two turbos. So we are going to intercool the air coming out of the big turbo, feeding the small turbo. What's cool is that's actually what intercooling is. When you have an intercooler, as they call it, that's actually aftercooling. So fun fact, aftercooling is what everybody calls an intercooler, and intercooling is what we're gonna do today. All right, we've got the junker strapped on the dyno. We're gonna hit it at about the same fuel quantity that made about 960 in the past, just to kind of get a baseline. Now we've added a wastegate, so if the wastegate opens, it might make less boost. I don't really know how this is gonna go, but we just thought it's a good starting point. Similar fuel quantity. We expect mid 900 horsepower.
Yep, and we've got more fuel. So if it cleans up and everything's great, we can ramp that thing up.
And in the past, we had more fuel, but it lost power as we gave it more fuel because it didn't have more air. So we feel like it's gonna take more fuel and continue to take more fuel, make more power.
Big old turbo should do it. We'll see.
Let's do it.
So we have the same fuel quantity, but the last setup was super dialed with the gate and everything else. This isn't dialed. I think we made 960 before. I think we'll make 980 now, a little bit more. We got more turbo. And boost, 83.
So before it was 960 and upper 60 pounds of boost. I think 75 pounds of boost, and I think it's gonna make about 975. I don't think we're gonna get a lot of gain without more fuel.
I think the 98 always wins. I'm going 1,000. 4 digits, because it's got the freaking 98 on there. It's got to do 1,000 horsepower. I don't even know what it did before. I'm thinking 90 pounds of boost, 1,000 horsepower. Let's go.
So it looks like Todd may have won that one. Yeah, congrats, Todd. I guess I forgot is that 960, that fuel quantity we did, that was the most power we could get out of it. It was smoky, it was a lot of extra fuel. When you give it a lot of extra boost, we'll get to that, 107 pounds worth, it makes a lot more power. GT55s just move air. I guess that's their job, and they do a pretty darn good.
That's still more than the 10 horsepower per pound of boost rule of thumb that guys on the forums had used years ago. So that means that turbo setup's fairly efficient, but we have ported head and a cam that's kind of helping all that. But guys, I didn't think we were going to crest 1100 period today, no matter how much tuning we did.
And what's crazy is that's still a 62-9 on the manifold. It's like a stock replacement turbo. It works great. It's such a small turbo. It comes up so well, and it just supported 1100 horse. And there's more in it. So check this out. This is like my fun part. Like that is just the gates. Just driving it, I could see that the gates were not ideal. So check this out. We can pull up total boost. We can pull up Interstage boost right there. Look at how it dips. Like it's trying to make power, and the boost just dips. And
so you're saying the boost curve's flat because the internal wastegate's cracking open and stopping the boost rise.
Yep, so that gate is opening way too soon. We should bump that up 10, 20 pounds or so. That would really help this thing just come on faster. You saw in the video, it was a little smoky coming up because it was just gating too early. So we could go ahead and we could tighten that gate up, and that would make it drive way better, come up better at the track, just everything better. But we'd also make a lot more torque. And again, stock rod engine, 1,947 foot-pounds. I don't know how much I want to keep going.
I usually tell people 2,200 is where the rods bend, and 2,400 is usually where the block starts to crack and get iffy.
What I would normally do is I would tighten up that gate to try to get it to come up. I don't think I want to do that. Or I could hit it later. Maybe I just start playing with the gate, but I start hitting it. Right now that's at 2,000.
You could turn it down to a lower fuel quantity where it's safer, and then play with the gate and get all dialed in there. And then at the end, we can do one Hail Mary pass.
Oh my gosh.
With the gate all tightened up.
This is my engine. I don't want to blow it up. So I think I'm just going to start doing the runs, starting it a little later. It comes up so well. I mean, it looked like the screamer pipe was opening a little bit and still made 107 pounds. I'm curious to start trying to get it to open a little bit more and see if we can drop the boost and what that does to power. And we still have the water injection. I'm excited. I think we're cresting 12, maybe 1250 today.
On a stock rod 12 valve?
Yes, we can do it. I have faith. I think we should, we have more fuel. We could try throwing that at it. I think we should do the runs further out, make a slight, what do you want to do? Do you want to just do more fuel?
Let's put more fuel in it and see what happens.
Yeah,
see if it wants more fuel. So it's probably gonna be a little dirtier, but you know, we're not trying to tune for as clean as we can make it out of the pipe right now. We're just trying to see how much power we can make.
Let's do it.
So I got an idea. This is a burnout truck and it's kind of hot. If we turn on the water injection system, it will mist the intercooler and the radiator mid-pull as soon as it hits 20 pounds of boost.
There we go. We made 1,177 horsepower, and that is almost all the fuel we have to throw at it. Pretty solid number. The gating is still a little too early, and that external gate is going pretty wide open. What is kind of cool over the previous run with less fuel, yes, it only made another 50 horsepower, 54 horsepower, but what is really cool is it carried so much better. Out here, we're making about 100 horsepower more than we did on the previous run, so that extra fuel is really helping it carry. Boost isn't up too much. So in this next round, what we're gonna do is we're gonna bump it back down to that 1124 horsepower fuel setting, just so we're not all out. And this is a stock rod motor, and I pretend to have a lot of confidence in it, but I know the parts in it. So we're gonna bump it back down, crank that gate back up, kind of just see what it does, if it likes that change, if it doesn't, and then we can kind of play with it more and turn the fuel up possibly later. Okay, that was with the screamer gate fully closed. Actually, it had some small wisps, but
mostly closed.
It was closed.
Mostly closed.
And again, that lower fuel setting, we made 1106. So off the bat, it looks like we lost 18 horsepower. But if you go in and compare it, I hit it later. I hit it at 2,400 RPM just to keep the torque out of it so we can keep doing rounds. And that horsepower is basically line for line right there. Boost is the same, Interstage is the same. So that's actually really interesting. It was definitely open before, but apparently just wasn't opening much. So all we did was tighten it a little bit, and that was all it took.
So I think if you would have hit this as early, we would have had basically a mirror, probably around 1,125 horsepower, give or take.
Yep.
And so no difference there. What's interesting, so that'd be like if you were to build this with no external gate.
It's a viable setup.
Yeah, it actually looks pretty good. That's what I was curious about, but we do want to push it further, so we're going to open the gates up, add some fuel, play some interstage water injection,
Yep.
intercooling, as Will Terry calls it.
Yes, we're gonna do actual intercooling now. So I think we're gonna keep the 2400 RPM start just to keep the torque out of it. I'm gonna open up the screamer gate a little bit just because if I can get that boost down, not lose any horsepower, the boots and everything will really appreciate that because we're making 100 some pounds of boost on our boot kit. So it still has the 45s at the intercooler, and we have really the main problem is we have that air shut off. It doesn't have big barbs on there. It's a 4-inch inlet outlet. That's what we blew already once yesterday in testing, so I just don't want to blow it again, just so we don't have to deal with it. So turn up the fuel again, open up the screamer, keep the power, and then we'll start playing with actual Interstage cooling.
Also, something I want to play with is I want to tighten up, this thing has a turbo tuner. I want to tighten up that internal gate a little bit, get it to stay closed longer, because we just have this huge dip. You can see the boost, it comes up, it's happy, that internal gate comes up and opens, and it just really snuffs it. So now that we're starting to runs later, I feel comfortable like we can tighten up that internal gate with the turbo tuner. We can get it to act more like it should, and the power curve will be just much smoother and happier, and it'll be cleaner coming up as well. So let's go do that. Okay.
Okay, we made a couple changes here. The first change we made is we loosened the screamer gate, that external gate that's on the manifold. It's got the screamer pipe coming up. That vents all the that gets all the exhaust past both your turbos. That really just gets the exhaust out of the manifold and it basically creates a big leak. And that is there to help slow down the chargers, try to get rid of restriction if possible. We're using it to drop the overall boost down, just to try to get this boost lower and hopefully more reliable, see what it does for power. The other change we made is we actually tightened up or increased the pressure, the opening pressure of the internal gate. That's the one in that 62-9. And by doing that, we were hoping to get rid of the layover in boost. You could see the boost was going up, it would lay over, and then it would start going up again. And that's just that's an easy sign that that internal gate in that 62-9 is opening a little early. So that's what we did. We turned that turbo tuner up 2 turns, tightened it up a little bit, and now you can see that that change did indeed. Both changes were very effective here. You can see boost came up, that horsepower in the truck, it was night and day different. It just, the moment it spooled, it was ready to go, and you can just see the horsepower just take off much steeper.
So it gave you big throttle response, boost response.
Yep.
Turbos liked that internal gate being shut or delayed.
And this is at 2400 RPM start. When we were doing that 2000 RPM start earlier, this would have been a huge, huge change. And I didn't want to do it because I was afraid of the torque it could possibly make. And you can see it definitely made torque a little earlier there. So that's pretty cool. And then again, that external gate, we loosened that up, got it to open up a little earlier, open up more. You can see we really neutered boost here. We dropped it from 102 right there to 81. So it definitely dropped boost a little bit much. We may have killed a little bit more power than we meant to. So we'll tighten up a little bit.
21 pounds of boost got cut out of there with that external wastegate.
But
the power also came down.
Yep, power and boost. And we did actually, you look at it, the horsepower is indeed actually more. It's the same-ish, but more over here, out here. This is a bigger fuel tune, but we're gonna kick it back out of this tune because we're smoking out the shop a little bit. It's just nice when everything runs clean. So we'll click it back into the other lower fuel setting, and then we can start playing around more with gates and with Interstage cooling. So last time we gated too much, we tightened up that screamer gate a little bit. It loved it. It comes up so fast. We're going from 160 horsepower to 1124 in less than 2 seconds. Like, it's outrageous. It comes up so well. So now we got a good baseline. We're going to throw some water injection Interstage. So do that Interstage cooling for Will, like he wants. See if it picks up any power. And then depending on how it goes, we'll play with some more tweaking and stuff and see if we can get this thing up to 1200 horsepower in the big tune. So we're turned on Will's Interstage injection, and I really thought it was gonna help, but so far it doesn't seem like it is. We've lost about 20 horsepower. We've done it twice now, backed it up. It's coming up a little bit slower. I don't know if it's too much water or what exactly is going on, but we're losing a little bit of power. It's still good. Like in a burnout competition where you're trying to get heat out of the motor, doing that will be good. It'll help this engine and everything's just survive for that constant power for the minute, 3 minutes, whatever it is. But for as far as making power, it doesn't seem like it's the play.
All right, guys, we've been beating on this thing on the dyno over and over. And now Meyer and I have this weird goal. We want to hit 1,200 horsepower.
Yes, sir.
It's either going to go or blow. So,
It'll be fine.
all right, guys. Halfway through this dyno session, Meyer and I came up with the goal of 1,200 horsepower because we thought it was achievable.
We got to 1177. We tried some new stuff. We tried some gates, the water injection. I really was sold. I thought that water injection was going to pick up power. I did a crude setup in the Shorty like 4 or 5 years ago, and it picked up a little bit. I was like, oh, dude, we got this. We'd indeed not have it. But that's still a solid number, and it drives so nice.
What's the water injection consensus like? Undetermined?
I would
it's
say
not enough difference where it was very black and white when it was on or off on the dyno
the
graph.
most effect it had was about 20 horsepower, but it was kind of hard because we noticed whenever the wind changes direction, that changes where the hot air is blowing from the radiator and if it goes in the filter or not. So we're kind of running into the realm of that could have been the problem. Who knows? This might be the wind was just pointing the right way at the right time. Who knows? But either way, we made it, and I would say water injection did not make enough. I was expecting 50 horse from it, and it maybe was 20. So it's a good reliability mod, keep everything cool during a burnout, but as far as a power adder, at least where we added it, not quite.
We have to hit 1,200 now. Meyer and I have this like internal goal. We have to hit 1,200 on a stock rod engine for why no, who knows why.
I want to do it on the junker. I don't care about stock rod engine. I just want to do it on the junker. Like this thing has been an absolute unit. And like we had our eyes set on it. Truthfully, I want to hit 1,100 and it came so easy. I was like, 12. So yeah, I think we're gonna make some turbo changes. We'll go through, do a health check, make sure everything was the way it was supposed to be. And if everything looks good, we're gonna make some turbo changes. Not crazy, but we want to try another one of our Aggressor lineups on the manifold, see what that does, and see if we can crest that 1,200 horsepower number.
So probably not the next video, but in the future, near future, we're gonna be trying a different high pressure turbo or different small turbo on this to see if there's some power there with a different turbine wheel. I think that's gonna wrap it up. Data, where do we find the best power? Around 102 pounds of boost?
Yep, 102, 105, somewhere in that range. A little bit of gate. Don't want to close the gate off completely, but don't open it wide open. So we have a good adjustability there. And it does really good. Like starting the window, 2,000 RPM, it's making 20 pounds of boost. It's ready to go. Like it really does run really pretty darn good, but we're not ready to wrap it up. You're doing a burnout still.
So we're gonna do a burnout. We're not at SEMA. I don't have a big area, it's just a small parking lot because we always follow the law around here. So there's no way to do a burnout in the street. So anyway, quick burnout, wrap this up, and yeah, let's do it.
So Will, that was a pretty gnarly burnout, and I didn't even realize the first time, that was a neutral drop, both of them.
I mean, I swear I saw some exhaust coming out of the screamer pipe before I put it into gear. Dude. So that was a lot of boost, dropped it right into gear, and it just took it.
Dude, that's incredible. That's like a PDD 650 trans, and these compounds come up so fast. Like it is, driving on the dyno is ridiculous how fast you floor it, it just comes into power. Like it is insane. So
I can't wait to street drive this thing because it is still street legal. We got to hook up the brake lights again from our bed swap. We didn't quite get that done, but honestly, this thing is still street legal and registered. I mean, it is basically a McDonald's getting machine.
And this is what you meant to bring to SEMA. What are your thoughts?
I mean, SEMA has a curse for me, but if it wasn't a curse, this thing would have ripped at SEMA. People would have been like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna build myself a diesel burnout truck. That's my goal whenever I do something. I want you guys at home to be like, I wanna build something like that. And this is achievable on a working man's budget. This does not have rods and billet, it doesn't even have head studs in it. I mean, this is very, very attainable. But anyway, if you guys like content like this, or you want to see more stuff like this, be sure you like, subscribe, and comment below. Tell us what you want to see this truck do next. Which events do you want to see it at?
Okay, thanks.